from the Crypt.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Rick with the Digital Divide, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite horror anthology series, Tales from the Crypt. Now, I got into this later in life. It originated well before my time, and it all starts with the creators Bill Gaines and Al Feldstein. They created this series back in 1947, and it started off being called International Comics. And this first issue, as you're seeing here, came out in 1947. It was a crime-based comic book series. It was not focused on horror, but as each additional issue came out, it started getting weirder and weirder. And then after issue 5, they changed the name to International Crime Patrol. And then that only lasted one issue, and then they just dropped the international part, and it became Crime Patrol. And this is what it would stay called for issues 7 through 16. But right around this time, there started becoming this huge resurgence in the horror genre with titles like Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Thing, Tarantula, just all kinds of classic late 40s, early 50 horror. So they decided to lean into that, and they changed the name of the series to The Crypt of Terror, which started with issue number 17 in 1950. Now, this is when the series truly became 100% horror. But even that name didn't last long. With issue number 20, which came out later the same year, they officially changed the name to Tales from the Crypt, and it would stay that way until the series' end. Now, sadly, I only have one original issue of Tales from the Crypt from the 50s. This is it. It's not my favorite cover, if I'm being honest, but it's considered a classic cover. This is issue number 38. It's only a 1.5, but they're still super expensive in low grades, which we'll touch on here in a little bit. But look at all these amazing covers. I plan to pick up more. They're just very pricey, and they're not easy to come by. Since all of these are golden age, they're all expensive. Even in low grades, you can see that like a mid-grade is going to run you about $700. Like rough, raw copies are going to run you in the hundreds. Even a 1.0 is going to run you a few hundred. This one is just a 0.5, so it's not even a 1.0 and sold for $300. So literally every single issue of this series is collectible and valuable, and I plan to pick up more down the road.
They were shocking.
They were horribly gruesome. They were bloody. People were being chopped up and battered with axes. And I'm 9 or 10. I'd never seen anything like this. It was amazing.
Horror comics were, to my little 7, 8-year-old self, they were my pornography. And this was the stuff that I knew I shouldn't be looking at, but, I couldn't give it up.
They were sensational.
They reached deeper and deeper into the springboard barrel. The stories got bloodier and bloodier. Did it go overboard? Yeah, I think so in a couple of spots.
I didn't write it, but I drew it. And I felt very bad about that. Mothers and fathers say, I don't want my kid to read that.
They were controversial.
Well, do you think that this cover is in bad taste? And Bill said, no, I don't think so. How would it be in bad taste? And he said, well, if you showed the gore, drop dripping from it. And they nailed him with that.
You gotta remember, when these came out, this kind of subject matter was considered incredibly taboo, and there actually came a point where they had to go testify in front of Congress to defend their comics.
My name is William Gaines.
On April 22nd, 1954, William M. Gaines, publisher of entertaining comics, testified before the U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Juvenile Delinquency.
I was the first publisher in these United States to publish horror comics. I'm responsible. I started them. Some may not like them. That's a matter of personal taste. It would be just as difficult to explain the harmless thrill of a horror story to a Dr. Wortham as it would be to explain the sublimity of love to a frigid old maid. What are we afraid of? Are we afraid of our own children? Do we forget that they are citizens too, and entitled to the essential freedom to read? Or do we think our children so evil, so vicious, so simple-minded, that it takes but a comic magazine story of murder to set them to murder, of robbery to set them to robbery?
But the comic books is probably not where most people know Tales from the Crypt from. Most, I would guess, probably know it from the TV show that was a smash hit. And that really started when Bill Gaines, who again was one of the original creators, met up with a producer at the time, Stephen Dodd, and between the both of them, they said, hey, why don't we revive that old classic series that, I used to love as a kid? So they reached out to HBO, came up with a draft, and it got accepted. The show was a smash hit. It aired from June of 1989 to July of 1996 and had a total of 93 episodes. The show still holds up today. I've revisited it every year, a few episodes. I have the all 7 seasons. And this is just like the comics in that it is an anthology series. So every episode is its own contained story, and that's how the TV show was. It mimicked how the comic books were, and there have been a ton of horror shows that have come since that have copied that form of storytelling. Now, we also got 2 movies from this series. We got Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood. Both of those were okay, and then they decided to make a kid-friendly TV version. Now, last year in 2024, they announced that EC Comics was being revived. They were going to bring back the brand, and they created a bunch of new Crypt Keepers, which you can see here. I think they've released 2 initial series. One is called Epitaph from the Abyss, and then the other one is Cruel Universe. So highly recommend checking these out if you're into this sort of thing.
Welcome, horror hooligans. This is your Shiver Chef. It's disgusting what people will do to stay young.
What's the matter with you? Want to keep that 90-pound corpse for the rest of your death? Keep pumping. I tell the story. Tonight's story is about an old man who finds a new wrinkle in the fountain of youth. A twisted tale that we call the Switch.
All right, that's going to do it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you used to watch Tales from the Crypt growing up as a kid. As always, thank you for watching.